Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mayhem Tainment and our very special May the 4th be with you. I am your host, the bad guy, JD, and I have two people joining me for the doubleheader this evening. Returning for the second time, also, at least for the first part of the episode, is
We
the
got
legend
volume,
himself,
gentlemen?
J Mac.
What do you say?
Oh, there you
Go
are.
Make sure you go check out Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc. The other JD, I think you're having a little bit of lag at the moment, and he's one of the few
Jonathan,
people
how
now.
you doing, buddy?
He's one of the few people to actually be on both brands now, Mayhem Media and the Boiling Point Podcast, our sister brand. So thank you, the other JD, for coming in on this side.
J-Max, you can hear me, right?
Yes, we can. He's obviously having some connection issues. So JD, can you hear us? Nope, he's having some problems. He was just working just fine, wasn't he, J-Mac? We were just in the studio talking.
Yeah, I can hear everybody fine.
Yeah, me too. He's having a lag at the moment. So I'm not sure why he's having a lag.
I can't hear Jonathan.
Jason, if you can, J-Mac, tell him to get out, leave the studio and come back in, could you? He says he can hear you.
He said if you don't care to jump out and jump back in, that may reset you.
Okay, so he can hear you, so that's weird that he wasn't able to hear me or anything. So maybe I'm having.
That's because my voice is loud. I'm just joking.
I've never been accused of not ever being loud. That would be the first time ever. So we're going to talk about Star Wars, J-Mac, and we'll get the other JD in here in a second. Do you have a? Let's just start with what your favorite movie might be. Are you here with us?
I'm in, gentlemen. Good evening.
Right. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
We're going to start talking about our favorite movie, and I was asking J-Mac about what his favorite movie in the Star Wars franchise was.
Honestly, I don't really have a favorite, just because I'm a big Star Wars fan. I'm an Original Six fan. I'm not a big proponent of a lot of the stuff after the latest three movies, and some of the series have been okay. But the reason I say that I like all of them is because it just tells the entire story. And one doesn't do you justice as far, I mean, yes, you can watch the first one, A New Hope, and I say that's the first one, the first in release.
Yes.
You can watch that as a standalone movie, and until you get to Empire and the big secret is revealed, it doesn't really make a difference. But so A New Hope can be a standalone movie, but once you get past A New Hope, you have to have all the rest of them to tell the whole story.
I would agree with that. I think 4 is an excellent standalone movie, and it's probably the only one in really the whole franchise that could be a standalone movie. The only episode, at least. JD, the other JD, what's your favorite movie?
Yeah, I'll tell. I'm I'm old school. I originally loved the first one. The way the whole story plays out from where he came from to where he ends up. Dude, I've lived that dream for years growing up that was going to be my life. So the first one was definitely my favorite. I do enjoy the movies themselves. I did enjoy all of them. They get a little crazy after a while, but the first 2 or 3 were definitely by far my favorites. The first one was definitely my favorite.
You're talking about 4, 5, and 6 now. Episodes 4, 5, and 6. When you say the first 3, you mean in release order?
Yeah, in release order.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure for our viewers' sakes is why I'm clarifying.
Yeah, definitely.
You say the first 3 movies are the best, and you might get some people commenting about you're crazy because they think
for us old heads, that is the first 3 movies.
Yes, I agree, but
yeah, for the newer people, good idea.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with I think number 3 for the of the first trilogy. That ended up becoming my favorite, and it was because of the lightsaber battles. That's why I like episode 3. I think Anakin and Obi-Wan had what is arguably the best lightsaber battle out of any of the movies that we have. And I mean the whole universe of movies that we have. that's likely the best lightsaber duel. And then of course Yoda and Sidious having their battle with that, with the lightsabers and then with the Force itself. That's why I picked number 3, because I think they're the best 2 battles in terms of the Force and in terms of lightsabers that we get in the whole franchise.
The only reason the only reason I would put Obi-Wan and Anakin's sword fight above that is just for the fact of their chemistry. Like, they were so good and they were so choreographed perfectly with each other that, like, I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen a sword fight. Let's just call it what it is, lightsabers or swords. But I don't know that I've ever seen a sword fight in a movie as good as that sword fight.
I would agree with that. I would completely agree with that. That's why I choose number 3. I think the lightsaber battle alone, and Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen practiced for weeks together on their choreograph. That's why it looks so good. The other JD, you want to say something?
Yeah, because now see, I don't see all that stuff. I don't see what you guys were just describing right there. I understand what it is, but I don't see that. I see all the action and the love, the anger, the hate, the story. I see everything else, but it's all good the way I see it.
Yeah, right. It is.
But I just don't see it the way that you guys do it, and I mean that's cool. That's you guys' thing. That's just wasn't mine.
Funniest. I was gonna say, I think one of the funniest things that I've ever seen about the second, and by second I mean actual number 2. What is that? The Phantom Menace? No, which is that? The Phantom Menace or the Clone Wars?
Clone Wars is number 2. Episode
Clone
2.
Wars with Yoda and Sidious's fight. That's Clone Wars, right?
No, that's number 3 also. Both Obi-Wan and Anakin are having a lightsaber battle, and then Yoda and Palpatine are having a lightsaber battle. That's both.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
The end of number 2. The end of number 2 is Clone Wars. That's when all the Jedi come to save Anakin and Obi-Wan, and all the Jedi.
But I'm pretty sure that's the one that Sidious and Yoda fought in.
No, it's a number 3.
Are you sure about that?
I am 100% sure, but you go ahead and AI ask that question.
I'm not using AI. I'm asking Google. There's a big difference between Google and AI.
The reason I know that is because number 2, the end of number 2, is the big battle in the arena between the droids and just the Jedi. And then the clones come in and save what's left of the Jedi. That's how number 2 ends. And then Darth Tyrannus.
What movie did Sidious and Yoda have
Obi-Wan and Anakin? And that's where Anakin loses his arm. He loses his arm at the end of number 2. But that's why, and I think number 2 is good for that reason. I
said the wrong name.
I think the battle at number 2, it's okay. We can wait, J-Mac, because I'm so confident in my answer. I'm okay with you waiting to figure it out. But number 2, at the end of that is the arena
battle. Did I
say
Sidious or Goku or Doku?
I don't know.
Doku.
You said Sidious, I thought.
Yes.
Okay, I meant Dooku. I meant Dooku is the one I meant.
Dooku. Yes, Dooku.
Count Dooku.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, that's where Anakin loses his
That
arm.
was 2, right?
Yes. Dooku faces Obi-Wan and Anakin as a team.
Yeah.
Yes.
The funniest thing I ever heard about that, and I'm sorry to go on so long about this to get it out, was I was watching a Dennis Miller special years ago, and he said he asked everybody, he said, have you all seen this new Star Wars movie? And he was like, if you haven't, you got to go watch it, because he said that little guy Yoda, he said he comes jumping out of the corner like he's the only guy in a crack house with a lighter. I was dying. He said he comes swinging that little sword like he was the only guy in a crack house with a lighter. I was dying laughing, and then I watched it and I was like, yes, he does.
And that's a good lightsaber battle too. At the end of number 2 there. I mean, having Obi-Wan and Anakin get their asses kicked by Dooku, that's not something you would have expected to see, especially after the events of number 1. So I think that was great. And then Yoda comes in and you're like, oh dang, Yoda's throwing down. Man, like that's the first time in any movie we get to see Yoda throw down.
Yep.
So yeah, that was quite that. I love his whole entrance too. His whole just staggering in with the stick, just and then all of a sudden, and then he's bouncing all over the place like he's a a pinball and a pinball machine.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Like he's the only guy in a crack house with a lighter.
Yeah. That's about the best way to really describe him.
All right, so out
Calm,
of
cool,
all
and
the
collective
movies-
until it's time to let loose.
Yep. Out of all the movies, do you guys have a favorite Jedi or Sith of the movies? Because I told a couple of people who want to be involved in some future Star Wars episodes, we wouldn't go too in depth. So let's just keep it confined to the movies, not the books. A favorite Jedi or Sith?
I'll let the other JD go first.
I was going to say if it was going to be this, oh my goodness, I can't think of what the guy that has the black mask. I can't think of
Darth Vader.
Oh my goodness, Anakin, isn't it?
Vader, Anakin, and then he becomes Vader.
Black hair. Oh,
gotta
why
be
in the world
Anakin.
can't I think of his name?
It's got to be Anakin.
It
Are you talking about
is
Kylo Ren?
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
If I was going to be a Sith, that's who I'd want to be.
Anakin.
His demeanor, he plays the part perfect.
Okay.
And the Revenge of the Sith.
In Revenge of the Sith, yeah.
But then I like Liam Neeson's character in regards to the Jedi. I really like Liam Neeson, the way he plays his character. So that would be my two.
Okay. J-Mac?
If I was going to go with a favorite Jedi and a favorite Sith, of course, my all-time favorite Sith is going to be Darth. And what really sold me on Darth Vader.
Oh, Vader. Okay. Well, they're all Darth. That's why I was like,
right. But are they all really Darth? There's only one Darth.
Yeah.
No, I would. If you open it up to the books, I would argue heavily against that, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, but
was he actually considered a Sith?
Who?
Darth Vader.
Vader.
Yes. Oh yeah. He's Sidious's apprentice. Yeah, when he becomes Sidious's apprentice, he is considered. He gets the Darth title when he becomes Sidious's apprentice.
I never saw him as a Sith before until just now.
What really got me about him, it was of course James Earl Jones's voice.
I was just going to say that
when he was talking and he was revealing to Luke that he was his dad, and he was trying to convince him to come over to the dark side. And to go back to the crack house thing, when he said, "You don't know the power of the dark side," the way he said that was like, you don't know what this feels like. You don't know, it's almost like it was a drug.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have to have this coursing through your veins because you don't know what it's like.
Interesting.
That sold me on Darth because it was just like you saw the human emotion in him.
I would say
that whatever this is, it took over me.
I would say,
and it's wonderful.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to see that scene. That's not the way I see that scene. I see him reaching out because it's his son, but also because Vader's not powerful enough to overthrow Sidious. Anakin, when he becomes Vader in number 3, he wants to rule the galaxy. That is what his desire is. He's willing to learn from Sidious, but he wants to rule the galaxy. He has every intention of learning from Sidious and then overthrowing him and becoming the leader of the galaxy. However,
he was able.
His fight with Obi-Wan renders him not as effective with the Force, and he's not strong enough to then take Sidious on his own. So to me,
not only that, but Sidious also put him in that suit that kept him in constant pain and agony, that kept him from being able to even reach what potential he could. Because people don't realize that about Darth, is even the Darth Vader character was toned down because of the fact of the suit he was wearing and Sidious just trying to keep him in control. because
Yes.
he knew even
It's-
with that suit, if he even after he lost his arms and legs, if he somehow got out of that suit that was tormenting him and he could still breathe without the suit, he would have fucked Sidious up. His left arm could have fucked Sidious up.
Yes, but I think that's what his plea to Luke was then when he was telling him about the power of the dark side and stuff. I think he wanted his son to join him so that he then could overthrow Sidious. That's how I saw that scene.
Right.
Instead of it
I
not
do.
being
I
about
do.
the power of the dark side, but more
I
about
agree with
your
that. I'm
help.
just talking about the fact that he presented it like it was a drug.
Yes, I can see that.
Like you don't know what this
So-
power is. You need to feel this.
Yeah. The other JD, go ahead.
So let me ask you this. At any point in time, I mean, Jonathan, you're saying that you thinking he wants Luke to join him so he can overthrow Sidious. What gives you that idea? Did Darth Vader ever do anything that made
that was
you
his
think
goal
he wanted to overthrow?
before he became Vader, when he was still Anakin? His whole conversation with Obi-Wan, he's talking about his new empire and how he will rule the galaxy. Sidious is already gone to him. He already knows that he'll be more powerful and he'll eventually be able to kill him. Even at that point, he knows it. So that's why, and I think it goes to the J-Max thing. I think it's the drug. Like, I think during his lightsaber battle with Obi-Wan, I think even Anakin unlocks powers and abilities that he didn't know that he had during that lightsaber battle. I think the power of the dark side is really coursing through him, and he's on such a high. That's why he tries to jump over him, even though Obi-Wan has the higher ground. I think he's so.
Sounds like all men with power.
Yeah, exactly.
Overconfident.
So, yeah, exactly.
And they want the top.
Yeah, but that's
they'll do whatever they can to get it.
Sith, that goes to the Sith lineage, though. That's the whole driving force of the Sith, is that the apprentice kills the master.
Yep.
But we're going to get more of that
and,
conversation for another
what a way to
time.
live, knowing you always got a target on your back.
Right. And I guess as far as my favorite Jedi, I'm kind of tied between those. I don't like Luke. Pardon my French, but I think Luke is a pussy.
I think so too.
He's just, I mean, I'm sorry. Luke was a whiny little.
He's a whiner.
Bitch. But to me, I think the best two Jedis were Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, and for different reasons. Obi-Wan, I think he was the best because, one, he got taught a lesson of his overconfidence of trying to train somebody, and then it failed. And I think that's why he kind of partially, not only to watch over Luke, but he partially put himself in exile because of that, because he failed.
Just like Yoda.
As far as Qui-Gon, I don't think we got to see enough of Qui-Gon Jinn. I think Qui-Gon Jinn possibly could have been the best of the Jedi. I would love to see a backstory, origin story of Qui-Gon, but I just don't know who you would get to play Liam Neeson's role and do as good as Liam Neeson did.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think Qui-Gon
Unless you get Liam Neeson himself.
Yeah. I think Qui-Gon Jinn is a great Jedi, and I love Obi-Wan too. I can't believe none of you guys. I am going to have to pick my favorite Jedi throughout all of the 6 movies, or I guess 9 movies if you want. Has got to be Samuel L. Jackson, motherfucker. How did no one select Mace Windu as their favorite Jedi? The purple lightsabered motherfucker who
not
did not
that,
get selected.
And I see what you're saying there, because Mace, that's another origin story I would like to see, because people don't realize that when we saw Mace Windu in the movies, Mace had already been a Sith, or on his way to a Sith. He was embracing the dark. He was embracing the dark and the light at the same time. So he could have went either way.
I think that's what makes Qui-Gon Jinn a unique Jedi, because he did draw on some of the dark side powers, but not enough that he still stuck to the Jedi code and stuck to mostly what the rules of the Jedi are. I think that's what makes Mace Windu a very unique Jedi. in my opinion, because most Jedi's fought like buy in, hook, line, and sinker, but Mace Windu always kind of operated outside the normal order a little bit. That's why I think that's why I selected him, just so I could give him a shout out and stuff. JD, you have something else?
You know, I get where he's talking about Luke being the wimp of the Jedi, because look at him. He even plays the part of a wimpy Jedi. And Samuel L. Jackson, just his character alone, he is just a badass.
Yeah, he is.
But Liam Neeson, for me, the way he plays his part, the way he acts it, I mean, he's just so smooth about everything. That's why he's my favorite.
Absolutely.
But I get the point of both of you guys with you guys, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
exactly.
he wasn't afraid to go against the order either, if he felt the order was wrong.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Question
So,
authority.
Yeah, and
Yes.
my favorite Sith, at least for the movies, I guess I'm probably just gonna have to go probably with Vader or Sidious. Vader or Sidious, I would go at least in terms of the movies. That I would not select either one as my favorite if we're talking about all of the canon, but at least for the movies, I would probably choose Sidious or Vader as my favorite Sith. I think they're the only ones who actually embody what the Sith is. I think Maul was an overeager acolyte is the term. He's not. I don't think Maul was ever a fully fledged Sith master. I think he ranked more of an acolyte than he did a Sith master. I don't care if he killed Qui-Gon Jinn. I don't care. Maul didn't seem to possess the knowledge that a Sith, I think, of that caliber of that skill should. And
Maul didn't kill Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon sacrificed himself to Maul, so that way it would. People don't, and this is the way my sons explained it to me: is Qui-Gon sacrificed himself to advance Obi-Wan, and then Obi-Wan, and then Obi-Wan basically was just trying to take everything that he had learned from that sacrifice and teach Anakin, yet it was falling on deaf ears by that point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I agree with that, but I think that's a strong argument. I think you make a very strong argument in that regard.
See, I think Darth Maul was more just muscle, not brain.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, at that point, you got to remember too that at that point, remember, Sidious at that point had decided that it was time to take over the galaxy, and in order to do that, he had to, or at least he felt he had to do what? Break the rule of two, because there is no way he trained Maul and then Tyrannus all of a sudden between movies 1 and 2. Now Lord Tyrannus has been his apprentice. They both were his apprentice for years in the movies. They both were his apprentice. So Sidious broke the rule of 2 in order to make the moves necessary to take over the galaxy. That's a conversation for a different episode, but I just wanted to bring that up too. That's the only reason I also wouldn't select Sidious, because I think breaking the rule of 2 is what ultimately led to his downfall. Let me see what else is there. Okay. Did any of you guys have like a favorite actor or someone that you think was the perfect for the role? I mean, all right, you guys said Liam Neeson, but anything other than maybe Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon?
I don't think you could have got any better than Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford?
Oh.
I think you're
Chewbacca.
probably right.
Somebody's got to vote for Chewbacca. Yeah, Harrison Ford definitely played his part to a T. As the pilot, the bandit, the smuggler, the outlaw. I mean, everything he did was spot on. He's another one of those actors that just does everything right.
I think I would agree with that. Go ahead, Jay.
Did you know that Kurt Russell actually read for that part?
I'm glad he didn't get it.
I mean, as much as I love Kurt Russell too, I cannot see anybody else playing that role now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Had he gotten it and done it originally, who knows? You know what I'm saying? We may be saying I'm glad Harrison Ford didn't get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, but hindsight's always 20/20, but Ford did great.
Yeah. I think in the second trilogy,
for sure.
Definitely Han Solo, Harrison Ford as Han Solo for the second trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, and for the first 3, I think it was Ewan McGregor as the young Obi-Wan.
Ewan did great. He did do great.
Yeah. I would say
Definitely.
I mean Liam Neeson is Qui-Gon, but he's only in for one movie. So I think Ewan McGregor as a young Obi-Wan did phenomenal because I'm sorry, but I buy Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan now. And because he did it so well to how what's his name? I'm totally drawing a blank on the guy that played the old Obi-Wan in 4, 5, and 6.
Shit, what's his name?
I can't remember it either. But
Alex Guinness.
Okay, but you could see Ewan McGregor's like mannerism, like you could see how he evolved from. Like I buy that this character evolved and is both of these guys. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I buy
He
Ewan
studied.
McGregor did a great job playing Obi-Wan, and then the dude who played old Obi-Wan did a great job playing the character, and there's continuity between the two of them.
Well, Ewan McGregor admitted that he watched Alex Guinness play that role over and over again. His mannerisms, the way he said, certain things and everything.
Yeah.
And he totally. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that I don't think Hayden Christensen was as bad as everybody likes
I don't
to make
think so
him
either.
out to be.
I was just about to say that
I think
too.
he played that whiny, I'm entitled, I'm pissed off. There was so many ranges of emotion with with Anakin,
Yeah,
and I think he hit all of them.
I don't think he did as bad as people say either. I think he did do a good job. There's a couple of scenes that are a little over the top for me, but I think overall he did a really good job. And I want to say that's what I respect Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor for, because they studied the Star Wars universe before they played their characters, not just for the lightsaber battle, but like you said, Ewan McGregor studied how Obi-Wan was and his mannerisms and everything so that he could recreate that. And I think both of them did a great job of getting into the universe. JD?
So I
got to say, I'm learning so much about how to watch a movie. Not like I watch them anymore because I don't even own a TV, but the insight that I'm getting from listening to you guys about these movies just floods my mind with stuff, and I love it. So
Excellent.
So I have another question for both of you all before I have to jump off here. And this is just me jumping off. They're going to continue, guys.
For a few more minutes. Yeah, we'll see.
What do you all think about the theory, and now that it's been confirmed, that Jar Jar Binks was originally going to be a Sith Lord behind the scenes?
Oh, I've seen the.
What do y'all think about that?
I've seen the fan theory that Jar Jar Binks was actually a Sith Lord the whole time operating. It fits, but the other thing that fits is that is just an idiot. That's the other thing.
Right.
So could it be one or the other?
Well,
Absolutely.
They said George Lucas came out and George Lucas came
You don't
out
need to
and
throw your
said,
phone about it, buddy.
I know it, man. Look, I'm pulling what other people have pulled. But no, George Lucas came out and said that he actually had that script written to where, and a lot of people think that's where the fan theory came from, was that a leaked script. Yes, because if you do, and I've looked at it, if you go back and look, there are several scenes where you see Jar Jar Binks just before somebody talks, waving his hand.
No,
or
that I
doing
didn't
something.
See. Now that I
like
haven't
there's
I'll
go
check
back
that
and
I'm gonna have to watch this now.
yeah, I will go back
Easier-
and check that out. I've never seen that. part,
well,
but I've heard
think
the
about
theory.
this. Think about this. He was such a klutz, and like I said, he went with the klutz theory
Yeah,
as opposed to he was a klutz in hiding.
yeah.
But even in the klutz in hiding, look at the first movie. He was just able to attach a arm of a robot to his leg and stomp and make a laser hit whatever he wanted to. That shows some sort of skill of something,
or at least a disassociated, at least a non-direct attachment to the metachlorians. Like he has the force around him, but he doesn't know how to wield it. So occasionally the right stuff happens as a result of the force. I've seen the theory about him being a Sith Lord. I think I think it fits, but I also think so does him being an idiot also just fits.
I'm glad he didn't go down that path.
Definitely, because Jar Jar Binks was cool.
You are the only person I've ever met that thinks Jar Jar Binks was cool.
I like Jar Jar Binks. He was a goofball. He
Yeah,
played.
I
There's
know.
another one. He played his part very well too.
Jar Jar was the original R2 and C3PO. He was the comic relief for that first movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
was
he took
definitely
it over
comic
the
relief
top.
for the movie. Yeah, he was definitely the comic relief for the movie. Absolutely.
And he
I
got,
think-
just like there's other movies too. There's the goofball, the silly thing happens, but it works out just perfect.
Yeah,
Right.
So
you were doing the motion like your head was blown as a result of that. But if you go back and watch the first 3 movies, it's Jar Jar Binks that ultimately makes the motion in the Senate to make Palpatine the Emperor.
Yep.
He's the one that makes the motion to do it.
I'm gonna watch them because I've never even heard of such a thing until tonight.
Yeah, so go back and watch him because Jar Jar Binks is the one who makes the motion, subbing in for what's her face, who I'm about to rant on for just
Queen
a minute.
Amidala.
Jay,
Yeah.
if you have to bounce, man, you can go ahead and bounce, dude.
Well, I'm getting ready to, but yeah, there's also another thing about Jar Jar I was going to mention too before I get out of here.
Go ahead.
If you look up the after story of what happens to him after he gets done with all the events of Revenge of the Sith,
Yeah, between
he
3 and
actually
4.
goes back to Naboo, and if I'm not mistaken, he becomes like a hero on Naboo, but he ends up getting exiled again. I can't remember exactly the story. I've only read it once, but it's actually some crazy stuff, and it's canon too. So yeah, check it out and everything. But guys, I appreciate you all having me, JD. I got to get out of here. It was nice to meet you, the other JD.
Absolutely, pleasure meeting you, J Max.
Yeah, we'll do
Yes,
more
sir.
episodes together. And just a little point. Make sure you go follow Headlocks, Heels, and Havoc, shout about, and all that stuff.
Yes, Headlocks Heels Havoc, Friday, 8 p.m. YouTube, Spotify, Twitch, all the places, Facebook. Come check us out, 8 p.m. We do a doubleheader every Friday. And, if you ain't checking us out, check out Mayhem Media and all our friends over there and everything.
Absolutely. We'll send them your way again. Catch you later, J-Man.
All right, man. Be
God
good,
bless you, brother.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. It's just me and the other.
And actually,
JD.
Jonathan, I think I'm hurting pretty good right now.
All right. You want to bounce out too?
If you don't mind, I'm going to call it a night too.
All right. Well, then you go ahead and bounce out. I'm going to talk for a minute for
Where'd
about
you
Queen
go?
Amidala and Natalie Portman because I have an NPP, a Natalie Portman problem, and not in a good way. So I'm going to rant about her for a minute, and then I'll close this episode out anyway. So if you want to bounce, you can go ahead and do that, and I'll just finish it off. Are you staying or are you bouncing?
I'll just call it quits.
We can't hear you? You can't hear me again? All right. All right, I'm gonna pull the other JD out of the studio since he's having trouble seeing me anyway. That way he can get going since he wants to. The last thing I'm going to talk about is Natalie Portman. I am not a Natalie Portman fan. That's what I was going to discuss with the other JD for a minute was Queen Amidala and Princess Leia. We can save that for another time, though. I'm not a Natalie Portman fan. I don't think she does good in any movie that she's ever been in. And also, I think that she just does not do good. There's nothing about her performance that I find good. There's only one line in the whole movie that I think is actually any good, and it comes to the Senate. JD, I can see you back there. Can you hear me now? No, I don't think he can see me yet still, so I don't know what's going on with him. I'll talk to him later. The only line, I think, the only good thing that she has in the whole episode is at the end of it, at the end of number 3, when the Emperor talks about how he's going to get rid of the Senate and usher in a new galactic empire. And she says, "So this is how liberty dies," in thunderous applause. And that is literally the only line in the whole movie that I think is worth anything or is any good. So I'm not a Natalie Portman fan. Let me see if the other JD is coming back, if he's back or not. JD, can you hear me? Are you there? Are you there? No, he's not there. So I'm going to close out so he can just go. Thank you for tuning into this episode. This is our second episode of the night. Check out the storefront, bonfire.com/store/mayhem media shop, and pick up some apparel, especially the Diamond Cartel apparel. Shout out to the Diamonds. Marcus Fredrickson is going to play us out. Until next time, I am your host, JD, the bad guy, and that's the end.